Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are strapping in for a high-octane journey into what a lot of automotive historians and just hardcore enthusiasts consider the absolute ultimate crescendo of Ferrari's naturally aspirated V8 era. We're talking, of course, about the legendary Ferrari 458 Italia. Let's dive right into this because, we really aren't just looking at a car today. We're exploring a literal masterpiece of engineering, one that completely redefined the boundaries of performance, design, and just pure, unfiltered driving emotion.
To really get the soul of the 458, we have to start with the philosophy of the man who started it all, right? Enzo Ferrari himself once famously quipped, "A Ferrari client was buying the engine and the rest was thrown in for free." And man, that perfectly tees up the legacy we're talking about today. See, while modern Ferraris are these brilliantly complex networks of algorithms and chassis control, that raw, screaming, beating heart right behind the driver's seat, that remains the absolute defining characteristic of this machine.
Section 1. A mid-engine masterpiece born, bridging automotive history.
You see, the 458 Italia isn't just a phenomenal vehicle in a vacuum. It actually acts as this crucial bridge between two totally distinct eras of supercar philosophy. Following Ferrari's V8 lineage, back in 2004 we had the F430. It was a spectacular car that laid the groundwork for modern mid-engine V8s. Then, fast forward to 2009, and the 458 Italia debuts at the Frankfurt Motor Show, representing the absolute peak of natural aspiration. It perfectly balances the analog mechanical roots of Ferrari's past with the bleeding-edge digital tech of the future. But by 2015, the automotive world was changing fast, mostly due to emissions and efficiency demands. That brought us the 488 GTB and the dawn of the twin-turbo era. So the key takeaway here is that the 458 sits perfectly at the summit of a mountain the industry is probably never going to climb again.
Section 2. The screaming V8 heart. 4.5 liters of perfection.
Let's shift into a higher gear and look at the anatomy of this beast, starting with what Enzo would argue is the absolute most important part. Just take a second and geek out over this number with me. 9,000. That is the astonishing RPM redline of the 4.5-liter Tipo F136 V8 engine, because it's naturally aspirated, meaning it breathes atmospheric air entirely on its own with no turbochargers forcing air in. It breathes deeply and revs literally to the stratosphere. This gives the 458 its signature, spine-tingling, screaming symphony. It was actually co-developed with Maserati, and honestly, when you hear a 458 at full tilt, you are hearing 9,000 revolutions per minute of pure Italian passion.
And all those revolutions? Well, they translate into some truly staggering real-world numbers. We're talking 562 horsepower, 0 to 62 miles per hour in a blistering 3.4 seconds. It also featured direct fuel injection, which was actually a first for a Ferrari mid-engine road car. Plus, it delivered a record-setting specific power output. Basically, that means it squeezed an incredible amount of horsepower out of every single liter of engine displacement. This wasn't just fast for its day, it was violently, shockingly quick right off the line.
But getting all that power to the ground required a massive paradigm shift. Its predecessor, the F430, was still offered with a traditional, gated manual gearbox. The 458, however, it ditched the manual entirely. It was the first mainstream Ferrari model to be exclusively offered with a 7-speed Getrack dual-clutch automatic. And wow, did it deliver. We are talking lightning-fast Formula One-style shifts that practically blurred the lines between your input as a driver and the car's mechanical response.
Section 3. Aerodynamics meets Italian art, the magic dust of design.
Now that we've covered the heart, let's look at the skin. When you gaze at the 458, you're immediately struck by this breathtaking Pininfarina styling. But here is what's truly fascinating. Every single curve, swoop, and vent is completely dictated by extreme aerodynamic efficiency. It's essentially a sculpture carved by the wind. Let's break down some of these clever design integrations. The front grille features these deformable aeroelastic winglets that actually bend and lower at high speeds to reduce drag. Then you have the scallop side air intakes, which pay homage to the classic 308 GTB while simultaneously managing airflow. Underneath the car, vortex generators literally suck the vehicle to the tarmac. And inside the cockpit, the steering wheel, which relocated the turning signals and wipers directly to the wheel itself, was designed with direct input from Formula One legend Michael Schumacher. He literally sprinkled his magic F1 dust all over the driver's environment.
Section 4. The brains, EDIF and SSC, mastering the slide.
But look, raw power and slippery aerodynamics are absolutely nothing if you just end up in a ditch, right? So let's move into the digital brains of the car. Managing all this naturally aspirated power requires incredibly sophisticated software, where the 458 turns the terrifying prospect of losing control into an absolute art form. First up is the eDiff. This is a direct migration of Formula One tech straight to a road car. By distributing torque between the rear wheels using friction discs controlled by a hydraulic actuator, the eDiff optimizes the exact amount of grip available during cornering. It essentially reads your steering angle and throttle input, seamlessly maximizing traction out of corners and giving the driver total, unwavering belief in the car's capabilities.
And then, the true game changer was introduced in the later variants of the 458, side slip control, or SSC for short. Now, purists might scoff at electronic interference, but SSC is completely different. It's an organic, yet highly advanced algorithm that performs an instant analysis of the car's side slip. It then compares that with a target value to optimize your control right on the absolute limit of physics.
Let's see how this builds in real time out on the track. Step 1, the computer analyzes your actual side slip angle. Step 2, it compares that instantly to the ideal target value for that specific corner. And step 3, it optimizes torque distribution using traction control and the eDiff systems. So what does all that tech jargon mean for you? It means SSC actually works in fractions of a second to make even an average driver feel like an absolute track hero. It literally lets you hold the perfect drift without spinning off into the grass. It is simply brilliant.
Section 5. The ultimate form, 458 Specialane, a track-tuned apex.
So what happens when you take that brilliant engine, that aerodynamic artistry, and that genius software, and you turn the dial all the way up to 11? You get the 458 Special A. Unveiled in 2013, this was the uncompromising, stripped-down variant built strictly for the track purists. Ferrari's obsession with weight reduction and power is just staggering here. They squeezed out an extra 35 horsepower, bringing the Special A up to 597 horsepower. But more importantly, they absolutely gutted the luxury. No carpets, thinner glass, carbon fiber everywhere. The weight drops massively from 3,450 pounds down to a featherweight 2,844 pounds. That drops the 0 to 60 time to an eye-watering 2.9 seconds. It is pure, concentrated aggression.
And let me tell you, that aggression really paid off on the tarmac. 1 minute and 23.5 seconds. That was the official lap time of the 458 Special A around Ferrari's own Fiorano test track. To put into perspective just how mind-bendingly fast that is, that time made the V8-powered 458 Special A full 1.5 seconds faster around the track than the legendary V12-powered Ferrari Enzo hypercar. Just let that sink in for a second. Unbelievable.
But as we all know, every era must come to an end, and Ferrari eventually had to pass the torch. On one side, you have the pinnacle of the old world, the 458's 4.5-liter naturally aspirated V8 screaming to 9,000 RPM. On the other, the dawn of the new world, the succeeding 488 GTB, utilizing a smaller 3.9-liter twin-turbocharged V8 capped at an 8,000 RPM redline. Now, the 488 brought immense, hyper-efficient digital power, for sure, but it fundamentally changed the auditory and sensory experience of the mid-engine Ferrari forever.
Which leads us perfectly to our final thought. The 458 Italia wasn't just a car, it was the final, glorious 9,000 RPM swan song of an engineering philosophy that prioritized feeling and emotion over mere statistics. So I want to leave you with this question to ponder. In the relentless pursuit of turbocharged speed and digital perfection, did we leave the soul of the supercar behind? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this sparked your curiosity to go out and explore even more incredible automotive history.